Welcome to our first lesson of T-shirt design. In this course, we are going to be using three different softwares for making our T-shirt design. So the first one or the first section, I'm going to start off with Adobe Photoshop. Then I'm going to move on to Adobe Illustrator, and then I'm going to move on to Canva. So as our first lesson, I'm going to be showing you about the introduction and overview of Adobe Photoshop. Before getting into or hopping into Adobe Photoshop, we have to learn a bit about what this software is and how it works. So what is Adobe Photoshop? Photoshop is a powerful software application developed by Adobe Inc. It's primarily used for editing and manipulating digital images, but it's also used for creating graphics, artwork, and designs. With Photoshop, users can perform a wide range of tasks, including photo retouching, color correction, image compositing, and adding various effects. It provides a vast array of tools and features for precise control over every aspect of image editing, making it the go-to choice for professional photographers, graphic designers worldwide. So, what are the key features of Photoshop? Layers, selection tools, filters and effects, brushes and painting tools, retouching tools, text tools, 3D editing, smart objects, image adjustment, and integration with other Adobe Creative Cloud or other softwares of Adobe Inc. When designing t-shirts in Photoshop, you'll primarily utilize its tools for graphic design and image manipulation. Here are some key features and tools which you might use specifically for t-shirt design. Layers, which helps you to organize elements easily. Text and drawing tools, which helps you to customize text and create illustrations. Shapes and vectors, used for clean, scalable graphics. Image editing helps you to adjust and manipulate photos. Color adjustment helps you to fine-tune colors for vibrancy. Texture and patterns helps to add depth and interest. Mockup templates help to preview designs on t-shirt mockups, and exporting helps you to save designs in print-ready formats. So, let's start our lesson by opening up Adobe Photoshop on our device. As you can see on my screen that I have opened up Adobe Photoshop. Now there are going to be a couple of suggestions which I would suggest before getting into the whole course. Make sure you're connected with your internet most of the time and you have the latest version of Adobe Photoshop running on your device, which will help you to go through the newest tools, newest bug fix, and optimize your workspace and also follow through the whole course. Because in this lesson, I'm using Adobe Photoshop 2024, which has all of the new updates. Okay, if you have an older version, it's totally fine, but just make sure not to go anywhere below 2019 because those ones are kind of very old and you might not also find out all the tools which I'm going to be using in this whole course and our classes. So you can see that this is the interface or the home interface of Adobe Photoshop. So when you open up Adobe Photoshop, you'll basically see a screen like this. Now, this is not going to be an essential class or how you're going to open up, how you're going to use all those tools. If you have like zero idea about Adobe Photoshop, then I would suggest you get some ideas about it because in this class or in our first class, I'm just going to show you about the interface and the overview of where you can find those tools, when you're going to be using them, and most of the important parts. But if you want full description and every one of those details, you might not find it over here. So make sure to, get a bit more familiar with the user interface so that you can follow through very easily. But even if you don't have any idea, but you want to start off photo editing, not just photo editing, but t-shirt designing directly from scratch, you can follow this whole course because I'm going to be showing it to you, each and every one of them, step by step. Okay, so make sure not to follow or or make sure not to skip any part. Okay. So on our home tab, we can open up our new interface, our new document. Okay. So you can see from here on the learn section, we will be able to see a couple of tutorials. From here, you'll be able to get access to your cloud documents and even your PC. These are the section, or this is the section where you're going to find out your cloud documents shared to you, or you can also find out the ones which you've shared with other people. And then we have is Lightroom photos. If you have Lightroom connected or your account connected, you can get access to those Lightroom photos too and work directly on Adobe Photoshop. And then we have is this recycle bin, which is called the deleted folder. From here, you'll be able to get access to the files which you've deleted, or we can also restore them up if you want to. And on each and every one of these sections or folders, you can also get whichever type of view you want. And you can also make yourself up a new folder so that you can find them up whenever you want to. And you have this account settings, your tools and everything. You can have the search bar. You can search up your own document so that you can open it up on Adobe Photoshop. And there we go. We have the cloud connected. Whenever you're connected with the internet, you'll basically see that this is going to be over here and going to show you saved. If you're not connected, one thing is that it will not auto save up anything. You have to save each and every one of them individually. So make sure to stay connected with your Adobe account and also make sure you're connected with the internet. Now I'm going to directly hop onto our interface where I'm going to be showing you about a couple of tools, interface, and also a couple of ribbons, which we are going to be using step by step in this whole course. So click on new file and you'll basically see this type of tab will open up on your screen. Now find out the one, whichever one you want to use. So most of the ones are most of the classes which I'm going to be showing you in this lesson. Most of these pages I'm not going to be needing them, okay? Because I'm going to be making myself a new workspace. So from here, what I'm going to do is going to be selecting on A4. Make sure to fix in your formats, whichever size you want. Let's say this is going to be just our interface. I'm going to name off my preset. Then you can also select which bit you want. So I'm going to put in 32-bit. If you have a mid-range device or a low-end or low-range device, just make sure to keep it somewhere around 16 to 8. Because if you use 32-bit, it might, lag a bit. So try using 16 or 8-bit. I most of the time use 16-bit because it also gives me off of projects which I do. But this is kind of like suggested. Another thing which you can see that if I use CMYK, I will not be able to use 32-bit because CMYK color space only supports 16-bit of bit depth. Okay, so try using the one, whichever one you prefer. So I'm going to use RGB, which is going to be there on default. I'm going to keep it on 32-bit just because I'm going to be showing you about the interface. Okay, and then you can also fix in or select whichever color profile you want, and also you can select the pixel aspect ratio if you want to. But if you don't want to do anything and if you don't want to confuse yourself, you can just keep all of them on default. You can just change in the color mode and bit depth, and they can move on directly onto your workspace. So you can click on that, or you can also change up the orientation, whichever one you want. You can also fix in the resolution. After you're done, press on create. It will create up this workspace just for you. Now you can see this is the working interface of Adobe Photoshop. Okay, so make sure to keep that thing in mind. So the first thing which you have to do over when you open up Adobe Photoshop is that go off the windows, go off the workspace, and make sure it is selected on Essentials default. Sometimes it is kept on photography, painting, graphic, and web, whichever one you prefer according to your workspace. But I would suggest you make sure to keep it on default essential because it will allow you to see all the tools which you need directly on your workspace, and you can also customize it whenever you want to. But most of the important ones will already be on your screen, so you don't have to worry about the extra stuffs, okay? So the first thing which we are going to see over here is going to be on the left side of our working space. So on the left side of our working space, we see all of these tools. Well, this is basically called the toolbar. So here we have a couple of these tools which we can use, and you can see there is a corner or this dot on these tools. You can see some of them have it and some of them does not. So when you see that there's this corner or this dot over on the corner of each and every tool, you can right click on them and it will extend up to more tools, and you'll be able to get access to more tools whenever you want to. And we're going to be using a lot of these tools step by step, so you don't have to worry about it. I'm going to show it to you step by step. Okay. Then we have the color palette over here. We have two color palettes most of the time, which we can use, or which is also called a swatch color. So you can see we have the foreground color, which is gray, and then we have white. And then we also have the default foreground, which is black and white. And when you press on D, you'll basically see that it will swatch up, or you can also press on X to swatch up the colors which you want to use. You can see if you want white, you can press on X and it will swatch up to white. If you want to use black again, press on X, it will swatch up again. If you have like different color, let's say I'm going to put in red over here. And if I say I'm going to put in pink over here, press on OK. And even if I swatch it up, I will be able to toggle through each and every one of these options whenever I want. So now you can see that I have selected red. If I press on X again on my keyboard, it will move back to pink. Okay, so it's just kind of very easy toggle. And if you want to get back to black and white again, just press on D and it will just revert back to, the color which you're using. And this is also the same option. You can press on that to swatch up the colors whenever you want to. And these two are very important tools, which I'm going to be using or showing it to you. So one is basically called the edit mode or the quick mask mode. You can see it over here. It will help you to select up objects inside of any element or any photo. And then the next one we have over here is called the change screen mode. So there are basically three screen modes. You can see when you press on F or click on this, you can see this is how it looks like. And this is full screen mode. And you can press on F again to shift back, or you can also press on escape to shift back. Okay. So that is how simple it is. Just make sure you're comfortable with your work and your workspace. Okay. So we are basically done with our toolbar. Then we have the tabs. So in Adobe Photoshop or in Adobe softwares, you cannot just close off Adobe and make yourself up a new interface. Okay. What happens in these type of software is that you can make new tabs. Okay. So that you can work simultaneously on different projects. So if I want to open up a new project, I'm going to click on new. I'm going to select on that, press on create, and you can see that it has made up a new workspace for me or a new canvas for me, which I can work on. But the previous one, which I already have, is still on the tab. So this tab mode actually is very advantageous. Okay, so you can toggle through each and every one of them, whichever one you want to work. And you can also save this workspace however it is and get back to, your home interface. But you have to close it off totally, and then you'll be able to open up a new workspace where you're going to work with only single tab again. Okay, so there we go. Now we know how we can apply new workspaces too. So we have the ribbons over here. Okay, if you're using 19 or older versions, you will basically see that it will look kind of very retro, but in the newer version, it looks kind of updated. And another advantage of using Adobe Photoshop is that it updates regularly on a regular basis. It gives you off the best type of updates and features every time there is a new update. Okay, so you can try using Adobe Photoshop, and which is kind of like a key feature of using Adobe Photoshop and why people choose Adobe Photoshop over other softwares. Then we have over here is the File tab, the Edit tab for editing any of your content inside of your workspace, your Image tab or Image ribbon where you can find out everything you need to customize your image as. Then we have the Layer options or the Layer ribbon, the Select ribbon where you're going to select up all of your content, element, object, even your canvas. Then we have is filters. There are a couple of filters which I'm going to be showing you step by step, and you can also do color grading if you want to. And I'm going to be showing you each and every one of them so you don't have to worry. So one important thing which I want to show you over here on the filter is that you have this option called the camera raw filter. When you click on that, it will open up a newer workspace for you on your window, and you'll be able to toggle it and shift it to other windows. As I have two monitors, I'm going to do is just take this interface or take this window into my first screen so that you can see it, how it works. You can see this is the new type of, or a pop-up type of window where you'll be able to customize color grade and everything. There are a couple of these tools which you'll be able to see over here, and these are, very basic, so you don't have to worry about it. If you're new to it, you might feel like, okay, it's a bit complex, but you don't have to worry about anything. I'm going to show it to you step by step. And another thing is that you can also open up preferences over here. You can see the performance, whichever one you want to use. I'm going to do is use auto. We have the maximum size, the purge cache. You can select your GPU and then go off to general and fix up your workspace if you want to. And after you're done, just press on OK and then you're good to go. I'm going to show it to you step by step so you don't have to worry. So these are the tools which you can also find out. And this is also very important for editing your photo in Adobe Photoshop. So you have to know a bit about it. And I'm going to be showing you a couple of lessons where I'm going to be using the raw camera filter effects, so you don't have to worry about it. And then on the view section, we have our viewing preferences of our workspace. Let's say you want to make your, workspace to be a bit more comfortable, a bit more reliable, convenient for your, comfort, and to make your work a bit more optimized. So you can use this option and it will represent the things which you want on your workspace or the things which you don't want on your workspace. Then we have is the plugins. So plugins are basically kind of like extensions which you use in other softwares, which increases your functionality. So you can also manage plugins, add in plugins if you want to. It's basically up to you, whichever one you want to use. And I'm going to show you a couple of them. You can go off the plugins panel. So this is basically the plugins panel. You can also click on this option, discover plugins or browse plugins. Make sure you're connected with the internet. When you click on browse plugins, it will take you to Creative Cloud Desktop or the web browser, whichever version you're using. And when you go off the plugin settings, this type of interface will open up on your screen, and from here you'll be able to get them whenever you want to. If you already have a genuine account, you'll basically see an interface like this, but if you do not have a genuine account, it will tell you to use the genuine version or get Adobe Photoshop, the genuine one. Okay, so as I already have my Photoshop latest version and a genuine version, it is seeing or showing me something like this. So I can just press on get whichever one I want. I click on get and you can see close the app and press on OK, and it will be just added onto your workspace. Okay, so you don't have to worry about it. You can just click on browse plugin and find out the one which you're going to use. But as I'm not going to be using any of those, so make sure to follow all of the steps which I'm using. Then we have is the Windows section. So this is one of the most important section which I think which you need to know about. Okay, if you're kind of new to it, you might face a couple of hassle, but I'll give you a solution to it. Let's say you've clicked on any of these sections. Now you clicked on color and you right clicked on it, and then what you did is close. So you cannot find colors anymore. Now, what would you do? If you want to get it back or you want it back on your workspace, the Windows ribbon comes in help. So I've removed colors, right? So I'm going to click on Windows and I'm going to find out color over here. Click on that and it will get back to the position or get back to the group where it was. Let's say I removed layers, which is one of the most important things. So I'm going to click on layers as it's closed. I can go back to Windows and from here I'm going to find out layers. And there we go, we have it. And even if you don't want this layers over here, you can also take it out. You keep it wherever you want, use it whenever you want. You can also get it back to where it was if you want to. You can also take it to other groups and other sections. Okay, so this is why I actually prefer using the Essentials default workspace, because it allows me to use all of the important tools or important groups or windows whenever I want to. And not only just layers or any one of them, you can also add in more if you want to. Let's say I'm going to go off the windows. I'm going to do is click on character spacing. I want channels. Maybe I want info, everything. Okay, so I can also group them up or make another section for me like this. So I'm going to use all of them together. You can see it over here. There we go. I can also group them up together. You can see I'm going to do is increase it. And I can also keep that specific tab. I'm going to keep it open. And I'm going to do is going to be increasing that size and keep it inside of that group. So find out, the groups which will actually help you to find out where you should keep them. You can make as much as you want. Okay, so it's basically up to you how you prefer to keep your workspace. So I'm going to keep it over here. I'm going to keep all of them over here. Whichever ones I do not want, I'm going to close it off. Okay, you can also close it off just by going to Windows and clicking on the one which you do not need. Okay, So if I say I'm gonna not need the info, I'm gonna right click on it. I'm gonna close it, and you can also close it off directly from the Windows ribbon. Okay. So basically we are done over here. We are done with the ribbons, and then the top bar, which you see over here, right above the tab, is also known as the properties toolbar. Okay. So from here, you'll be able to see there's a couple of tools which you'll be able to use. Let's say if I select on any of them, it will change or vary according to the tool. So it's going to depend on which tool you're using, and it will give you customizations and whichever ones you want to use them, and customize that tool however you want and how you want to use it. Okay. So this is the section which you also want to keep. Okay. So on the right side of the section we have is the share option. From here, you'll be able to share up your document or project, whichever one you're working with. You can search up anything into your workspace. When you click on search, you'll basically see an interface like this will open up. From here, you'll be able to search up whichever one you prefer. Okay. So I'm going to click on next. And from here, you'll be able to search up the ones, whichever one you want to. Okay. You have video series, hands-on tutorial, everything. If you're facing any problem, you can also go off the help over here, and you can also go off the search and find out help. Okay. And then we have is the window section over here again. From here, you'll be able to change up whichever window or whichever workspace you want, which is basically the same thing as over here. Okay. So hope you understood everything about this lesson on overview and interface of Adobe Photoshop. And all of these are basically the Windows platform. From here, you'll be able to change up whichever window you want to use. And there's like a vast amount of tools which will help you to get your result. And one thing which I would suggest you is that make sure to keep on your practice. And if you have any new idea, make sure not to hesitate to try it on, because you never know that how it will be. So just follow a couple of steps. And if you have any new idea, try to apply it and try to fiddle through Adobe Photoshop. So thank you for watching this video up till the very end. If you still have any confusion or free to ask me. I'm always there to help you. So without any further ado, let's move on to our first class where we are going to learn about t-shirt designing in Adobe Photoshop. And make sure not to skip any part of this lesson, because if you do, you might also face a bit of hassle later on in this whole course. So without any further ado, let's move on to our next lesson of t-shirt designing with Adobe Photoshop.